Hi, it's David Deegan, Financial Advisor and Director of Smart Financial Advice. Inside this video, I'm going to outline a simple process you can use when trying to decide where to invest and what investments to include in your portfolio. Investing can be confusing. There's a seemingly endless array of investment options available, and new ones being introduced all the time. So how do you choose what to invest in? And how do you build an effective investment plan to safely and systematically build long-term wealth? Let's have a look at a list of some of the things that you can invest in. Cash in the bank, government bonds, overseas bonds, corporate bonds, Australian shares, overseas shares, large cap shares, value shares, resources shares, industrial shares, warrants, options, exchange traded funds, listed investment companies, separately managed accounts, residential property, commercial property, just to name a few. And the list just goes on and on and on. With such a long list of different types of investments, it can become very confusing. How do you compare them all, research them, analyse them, and pick which ones to include as part of your investment portfolio? And how do you get an excellent financial outcome while managing and minimising the level of risk that you take? When we start to look closer at all of the investment options available, we can begin to see that there are really four main categories or areas that we can allocate money to when thinking about what investments to purchase. These include cash, fixed interest, property, and shares. This makes it a lot easier to start making some decisions about where to invest, because instead of looking at hundreds of options, we can now just focus on these four key areas. What we can then do is decide whether or not we want to include those investment options into our investment portfolio. Do we want to include all four areas or just some of those areas? The next thing to consider is how much you're going to allocate to each area. If you've chosen just one area to invest in, that decision is very easy. You allocate all of your money to that investment option. If you're investing in more than one area, you can allocate a portion of your money to each of your chosen investment options. Once you've decided which areas you want to invest in and how much you'll allocate to each area, you can then think about how you'll invest in each area. There's really only two ways of making money from investing. You either get a return from the income that you receive, such as interest, rent, or dividends, or you get a return from the capital growth, the increase in the value of the investment between when you buy it and the time that you sell it. By choosing the type of return that you want, either income or capital growth, that will guide you towards specific investments to purchase. For example, some shares pay higher dividends than others, so if you're including shares in your investment portfolio and you want income from your shares, you'll be looking for shares that pay a good dividend. So to summarise, the way to simplify your decisions about where to invest is to 1. Start with a list of all of the available investment options. 2. Categorise those into key areas such as cash, fixed interest, property and shares. 3. Decide what areas you want to include in your portfolio. 4. Work out how much of your money you'll allocate to each area. 5. Choose the type of return that you want, either income or capital growth. And 6. Purchase investments in the areas that you've chosen that provide the type of return that you want. If you'd like to talk to us further about this, I'd encourage you to get in contact with us. Our contact details are on the website at www.smartfinancialadvice.com.au. If you'd like to discuss your particular situation and financial goals in more detail, you can book in for a 45-minute review session. You can find out more about these review sessions on our website at www.smartfinancialadvice.com.au/review. This is general information only and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation or needs. Therefore, before relying on this information, you should consider your own personal circumstances and seek professional advice.